In 1 3/4 miles, turn left on Hatch Boulevard.
Okay, let's see if we get this. That looks pretty good. Yeah, looking good. Good morning, YouTubers. This is I, Big D, coming to you live and in person here in Florence, Alabama. Give you a little footage outside the window today. For those who wonder what it looks like for us, well, now you're going to get to see some footage. Hey, Armo, not bad. I'm deadheading 500 miles. I came in at 500 miles and I'm leaving at 500 deadhead miles, and I'm going to explain why in this video and answer any questions. You don't like to deadhead, but I'm in Florence, Alabama. The South is terrible at the moment. I would advise anybody looking to get in this industry, do not sign up with Panther or Bolt or these guys, because they're running at 70 cents a mile, which is utterly ridiculous. If you're signed on with an owner at 70 cents a mile, well, you're going to get 60% of that, 42 cents, and you're going to have to pay, hey, nervous, you're going to have to pay the gas. At that rate, you're not making money. Now, I came in here at full rate, which is 95 cents, in case you're wondering what full rate is. And I know the South is depressed. So to sit down here, I could sit here for 2-3 days and be told to move 150 miles up to Memphis. Rather than do that, I'm going towards our office started from for 500 deadhead miles. I would have normally not even taken the load, but it's for one of our good customers, and sometimes you have to take loads that you just don't want, and this is one of those times. So, you take it because you do a lot of work for these people, and you get a lot of good loads, and every now and then you're going to get a crappy one, and this is the crappy one. So, deadheading back. But another thing I'm going to tell you today is that there's been a lot of controversy on our channel or our Facebook page about contracts with owners. If you don't have your van, and I really don't even like the term owner, no one owns me, but here's what happens when you sign on with an owner. You're going to get a contract. Now, I'm going to give you some good legal advice. That is, to an attorney and have them read it. Make sure thing disconnected. Let's see, go back to the outside view. Okay. And it's just a metaphor here. But we had a guy who was running with an owner. The contract was so big it wasn't funny. So he put down, which is common, $1,000 escrow account, which I have $1,000 escrow account on here, and we also have a $500 lettering account too. After 6 months of being here, you get that back. Before then, you ate it. But your escrow account, you get back. Okay, how about that? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Turn left on Hatch Boulevard.
But anyway, like I said, you're going to have an escrow account with an owner, and this guy had a $1,000 escrow account. And because his contract was so vague and just terrible, the owner took out, okay, good. The owner took out $900 plus. So the guy got back $90. He was not happy. What can he legally do? Not much. I mean, you sign a vague contract, and this is what you get. So I tell people, if you can't afford the $100 to $200 to have an attorney look at that contract, don't come out here.
4 1/4 miles.
Because they're going to set you up.
72.
I mean, he paid for a cracked windshield. Well, that's damage. You should have driven slower and behind. Oh, bullshit. I have rocks come across the interstate hit me. So, come on, guys. Let's get real. So, what can you do to put ball bearings in transmission? What can you do to put ball bearings in his engine and transmission? Yeah. Well, you don't want to do that, but because you'd be held responsible legally in the contract to fix it. So be careful what you sign. Even if you sign on to a carrier as an owner-operator, read the contract. If you don't understand it, have someone that does, read it, and if you got to pay an attorney, pay them. Because when you separate, which will happen, you don't want to have lost $900 that you could have prevented by spending $100 up front, knowing what was in there and having some things amended. When you go see an owner, as they call them, the fleet owner, which, like I said, I really don't like fleet owners. I really don't. There's some good ones. Most of them, they're, like I said, you pull into Bolt, Panther, and you see 30 vans sitting there in a lot. Well, guess what? There's a reason those vans are empty. So, well, you sign on as a business LLC, you can't do anything. Well, yes, you can. Because technically you are a business LLC. When you sign on, you're basically, just think of it this way, and it's an easy way to come up with this. When you go rent an apartment, you sign a lease. You're doing the same thing when you drive for an owner, you're leasing his vehicle. That's technically what you're doing. So, yeah, and like I've told some people, well, as an owner, I can't put in there every little thing that can go wrong. Well, actually, you can. It's called normal wear and tear. It's a clause that they use in a lease for an apartment. Yeah, you can't put it in. They don't want to. You see, that way they can charge you for the cracked windshield. If you don't spell out everything in that contract, trust me, at the end of it, you're going to be the one that pays for everything. So, if you're driving along and a chip comes up and smacks your windshield, and some of these vehicles, like ProMasters, are about $300. They can get 5 to 7 in a Transit. I don't know what a Mercedes windshields cost. It's not your fault. But this guy got stiffed for that. He got stiffed for cleaning his van and his mattress for about $375. Yeah, there are all kinds of tricks out there, I have a law degree. So I'm just giving you some straight up, here's how you do this. You basically, when you see a lease or a contract, you read it, because you're interviewing the owner of the fleet too. This is a mutual thing. You can sit there and say, I don't like this clause. You're gonna have to remove that. Line through it, initial it. You can amend the lease. So I'm telling people, be careful what you sign. If you don't understand it, have someone read it, because in the end, you're going to be responsible for it. But people ask all the time, what is this job like? Well, you're getting a little view of it today. This is what it looks like. And now I'm in town here, and I'm going to be on this road for, 150 miles. I'll get out of here and get in some country in about 3 miles. But, yeah, this is what we look like out here on the road. I tell people all the time, I drove in, dropped off at 3 o'clock in the morning, I picked up at 6. I went to sleep, I got up, and I'm leaving and going right back to where I started. Because sitting down here is just dumb. You're going to sit in the south. South is terrible. Don't come down this way unless you have to. So, when do you relocate? Well, there's several reasons why you do. In this industry, if you do not relocate, you will not make money. Let me repeat that. If you do not relocate on your dime, you're not going to make money. Now, if you're signed down with an owner, the owner may tell you, sit there and wait for a load. Well, you might sit here for 3 or 4 days. I've known people who sat 13 to 14 days waiting for a load because their owner would not let them leave. Now, if you've never been over the road, well, I go ahead and run with a owner, and I'd say give it a couple months, see if you like it. If you do go buy your own van, it's the only way you're going to make any money out here. Running for an owner, you're not. You're right. You should basically get paid more for bad freight areas. You're right. Now, Barrett, I'll give you an example of how they did things. I think on my last one I talked about how terrible that was in Chattanooga. Right after that video, I'll tell you what happened. But basically, I came from Ohio down to Huntsville, my dad headed from Huntsville up to Nashville, sat there for a couple days, got a little shorty over to north of Atlanta, and sat there for a couple days, moved up to Chattanooga. Because it's terrible. I was moved and paid $550. I'll tell you what, I got paid $550 to drive over to the office which was 672 miles. That's over 80 cents a mile. That's a lot of people's full rates out there. But I moved over, and they paid for it. Then I picked up, went to Maryland and Pennsylvania. I paid very, very well to do that. There, I deadheaded to Pennsylvania. I picked up there and went 441 miles, which was a shorty. It's not the greatest, but the box only weighed 30 pounds or something. So, I moved over there, and that was 30 miles from my house. I went home, got up the next morning, got sent to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and got to hear from the office area yesterday. So I've ran every day. Now I'm relocating back that direction. So, to give you an idea, I told you that basically the week before this one, pay period, which is, today is Thursday, it's the end of our pay period. I had done last week 700 miles or something. Well, I'm over 3,000 miles this week, well over 3,000. And with, the money they paid to get me out of here the last time, I made $3,600 so far this week. I could get a shorty going through Memphis, heading to Kansas City or something. That could happen. I'm not holding my breath. It could happen. It could add to the week. But for the most part, tonight at midnight, our week's done. So I'm figuring it's done. So I'm now moving to start next week. It's been a pretty good week. But right now you've got people out there. I heard of a dispatcher who couldn't get people out of South Carolina at 69 cents a mile. People who can't get out of Laredo for 50 cents a mile. You can't work out here in those numbers. It's stupid. I tell people all the time, look, it's going to get better. It's just the way it is now. Right now, I'm working off 90 to 95 cents. I have had an 85 center in there, which to most people is good. To us, it's like it's a big discount. So you're going to have to know when you need to leave an area. And if you're coming into the South, like Nashville, Memphis, and you want to give it a day, give it a day. But if you're not out of there, get the hell out of there. I mean, if you have to drive 500 miles to get to a better area, you can look at it this way. I'm going to spend $40, $50 in gas to make maybe $1,000. Now, do we like doing that? No. But if you're going to survive out here, I call it the purist. If you're going to be a purist who wants to basically sit here in Florence area and hope to get freight, I'm sure freight comes out of here. Once every blue moon or two, you might get something. And if there's other people down there, then you can all bid for that little piece of the pie. There's not much freight down here. Get out of here. I mean, just leave. Take up, start the engine, and drive out. You're better off. Because if you don't, you're going to stall your week wherever you're sitting. And that's not going to be good for you. Oh yeah, Ohio. Well, Ohio hasn't been that great either. So Michigan, cheap freight seems to be affected everywhere.
3/4 of a mile.
Chicago,
on US 72.
generally is excellent. Chicago is a hot spot, but guy was telling me he couldn't get out of there at 65 cents a mile. So if you can't get out of a place for 65 cents a mile, Chicago, there's no reason to go up there. I mean, I would have deadheaded to Chicago from Memphis and thought nothing of it. But today, no. Not until the freight starts moving better. And you need to keep a pulse on that. Now, if you haven't signed on to our page, Transportation Life, Wills, Wings, or Rudders, you need to. Because you'll see a lot of people talking in there. And you'll hear a lot about what's going on out here. And you're going to see the areas they're talking about. If you're going to make it out here, you got to learn what we're talking about. I was on that channel for 2 years before I came out. 2 years. I know where the freight areas are. I know where not to be too. And I know that what I'm doing at the moment makes the best sense to get freight. And that's what we're trying to teach you guys. We're trying to teach you that no, 70 cents a mile is not good rates. All right? The minimum you should run for is 80. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to take some cheap freight sometime. If you're out in California, prime example, I drove out there at 95 cents a mile to go out there. Good miles. I got some relocate money, and I was offered a load out of there that they said, I can get you out right now, but it's 75 cents a mile. But it was 2,500 miles, and I had plenty of time. It was just before 4th of July. So after I paid everything out of my pocket to do the load, I made $1,500. Hey, I'm going to be going home anyway, so for $1,500, it's great. Parrot pays really good. Okay.
Continue on the road.
Parrot's one up there. There's other companies that pay good too. C&M, Load One, all of them, they pay good too. Now, Load One, just so you know, it's not taking pants on. You go on a waiting list. So I just tell people up front, hey, I'm going to Load One now. They're going to put you on the waiting list because they don't like John over there. Elliot doesn't really like dealing with vans. He likes straight trucks. That's where he makes his money. And he'll tell you that. So it's nothing. He hasn't actually set an opening for him now. In July, there's a website called Expeditors Online. In July, they're going to do it. It's going to be in Fort Wayne. I highly advise any of you guys looking to get into this to come here. Okay. Like I said, I advise you guys who are looking to get in.